Alright, this is going to be our in-depth horror discussion review on the 1979 Amityville Horror original with JVM 2005, Mr. Creepshow, and we're breaking down scene by scene.
Yeah, I've been obsessed with watching all the documentaries on the original story on YouTube.
Yeah,
Check
he
those
has,
out.
I haven't. Wow.
Also, because they're coming out with 2 Amityville movies next year, 2012 is going to be a huge year for
There's
horror.
going to be 2 Amityville horrors.
One by Dimension, and then another one called Amityville Legacy that looks kind of whack.
Wow.
Anyway, so if you haven't seen the original Amityville Horror, on the short of it, they combine like the freaking Exorcist and like The Omen and Psycho into one movie, basically.
Yeah, they steal a whole bunch of elements from all those movies.
Well, we're going to be going through overall thoughts and talking about the documentary throughout this in-depth movie review where we break down all the scenes.
Wow.
Alright. Let's jump right into it. The original Amityville Horror. Shut the hell up, Elmer. Opens up with the MGM lion logo.
Oh, it's pretty tight. When it first shows
Wow.
the house.
We're a minute in and he already said tight, everyone.
It shows the MGM lion logo, and then but when it cuts the actual footage of the house, it starts off with the house, you know?
Oh, there's so many gorgeous scenery and shots of the house outside.
No, it's the house in
shot
black.
beautifully.
No,
how they zoom in the camera.
No, it's the black and red doing the credits.
Oh, and they'll fade the film. Yeah, red. It starts off red and it's doing the credits.
No, then it fades to the gray background of the house. It starts off red and goes to gray. And then it's like the lightning, like, you know, going off forever, and you think...
Oh, it's like stock footage of, like, every storm from the 70s and 80s in film history. No, it's like...
No sound effects.
No, every freaking movie back then, everyone knows what I'm talking about. That thunder noise that they always use.
They also got a grip on the freaking strobe light to, like...
And this is the DeFeo freaking murders, as we know. The true story was he was freaking blown on heroin and, like, wasted that night. And he went to his local bar and was like, yeah, I shot him.
So it starts off.
There's also a conspiracy that he like used to
showing him killing.
There was incest in the family. He used to bang his sister and freaking.
Wow.
No, true story. True conspiracy.
Wow.
Because they say that it was hard to commit all those murders of murdering the whole family with the shotgun from room to room. That's what it goes. It shows the flashes of him with the shotgun shooting his family, as we know.
So it shows the lightning bangs, and then it does the gun rifle bangs.
And this was November 13th, 1974.
Pretty tight cinematography, how they switched it over to that.
And the story goes like, as his self-defense is, he probably watched The Exorcist and was like, oh yeah, I heard voices or whatever.
Wow.
He just said that to... Obviously, as his defense.
Yeah, he's insane, so he can get off scot-free.
But that doesn't work. He's like 59, I think, turning 60 this year, 2011.
Wow.
Still in jail.
Still wiping his ass.
Shut up. And then it shows the cops. Are you going to talk about one scene or what?
Wow, no. Then it shows, it cuts to the crime scene of all the cops being there.
And it starts off with the
like
detective.
the 70s
They also throw in like a detective like vibe throughout it all, even though that wasn't even happening in real life.
They throw in a Commissioner Gordon detective
like
sergeant
that show,
who's like smoking cigars.
Magnum PI or something, and
he's smoking
Matlock.
He's smoking Swisher Sweets.
Oh, and one of the cops was like, I think it was at 3:15, the infamous time, as we know.
Oh yeah, it's total filler.
That when the demon strikes you.
No, then it's like November 13th, 1974.
We're gonna be comparing this movie to the freaking remake too. We already did. Check out that in-depth discussion if you haven't seen that.
And freaking, and then it's showing the cops. It's pretty tight.
So anyway, then it cuts automatically already to freaking the Lutz family.
Yeah, it just cuts to them freaking like the lawyer, like
looking at the house.
They're already opening the door, the front door going in.
Another thing I like about this movie, they shoot in fall time.
I was just saying, it's pretty tight though, because it shows the outside of the house and it's like
multicolored.
No, it's like
yellow.
a red Japanese maple on the left, and it's like a yellow maple on the right. It's dope. Pretty property.
And then it does the freaking then the realtor is like the lady from does the clock tower in the Back to the Future
Save
movies.
the clock tower. Yeah, she's the lady from Back to the Future.
What a fact.
What a fact.
No, then it does as they're going from room to room, it doesn't show any of the deaths of the DeFeos until this part. They decide to do editing.
No, they're going through the rooms of the house,
flashbacks of the
I
shotguns.
like this, yeah, or like going down the basement, and then it just cuts to a gun going off,
How he murdered his own.
They cut an inch film reel of the gun shooting, and then pasted it onto that part of the film. In between them, going in between rooms, looking at the house.
Oh no! And then out of nowhere, they're walking up the stairs, and they do this edit, pause, cut to another shotgun flashback.
No, they're going through the house.
They throw so many random editing ploys
it's total
into this.
70s long.
It's late 70s, so they're
it's 70s long shot or long. They're filming them, going through the house, looking at rooms, forever for the longest times, and then freaking they pause the footage and them coming up the stairs, and then freaking switch to him shooting the gun.
Most of the 70s, they just set the camera up in the corner and just let the camera reel for a whole take while they actually say all their lines.
Wow.
But this, they tried to do a bunch of editing, fast take that were kind of questionable. Some of them were questionable. Some of them were.
Back then,
some
it was
of them
probably
looked
high
pretty
tech.
beautiful.
Back then, everyone respected that kind
So
of
anyway,
jazz.
So then they talk about the murders. What do you gotta say about that?
When they talk about the murders, I gotta say,
And talk about buying it.
oh yeah, they're just sitting down.
And he's just houses don't have memories.
He's houses don't have memories. He's just he's if we had to pay for the regular price of this house, we'd be living on. We couldn't do it if we were living on
tuna casserole. And they put that line in the remake also.
Yeah, they put that line in the remake. Throughout this movie, they did a couple different scenes, the same lines.
I don't like how they decided to take him out of the house in this movie, and they had him go to the dinner party and everything. We're gonna get to that later on in the review.
Yeah.
So anyway. No, and it shows the realtor, and they show the papers blowing because they signed the papers. Hey, it's haunted.
It shows the lawyer, and
the lady,
and the real estate agent, and the freaking papers fly away, and then it's oh, the house is haunted. But then it just cuts back to them, and they're already moved and established, and they're cooking dinner with their kids. And the kids are out back running around.
And it's supposed to be their first day. It doesn't say that, but it just says a month later.
It cut so quick. Alright, go.
No, then they're just talking, small talk, and then they're just how will you just go and get a couple beers and go play with the kids, huh?
He's houses don't have memories. Oh yeah.
They're we need a buzz to go and play with the kids on the first day.
It's filler forever, them getting dinner ready and talking. And then she's what do we do now? And she's oh, let's get some beers and go outside and look for the little rascals.
And then they already do the freaking priest blessing.
It goes out there, and this is the first time they show the kids, and then they just cut immediately.
They treat the kids as extras in this whole movie.
It just cuts immediately.
They aren't even real
they go
characters.
Out there, and then it just cuts right from there to, where's it cut?
The priest is already blessing the house already.
Yeah, it cuts to the priest, coming up.
No, they, make him have a real active role because, basically, that's why I say compared to The Exorcist, they make the priest have a huge role in this.
It's very tight when he's rolling up because it's all the fall trees too around the house again. Shots of that, it's real tight.
And this is when the flies are building up, and it's just an amazing Texas Chainsaw Massacre type horror feel.
Yeah.
When it's happening, and the soundtrack's pretty beautiful.
So then he's knocking on the door, no one answers because they're out back. So then the priest just walks in. And then he goes back there and sees him through a window, sees him out back, and he tries to open the window, and it doesn't open, and he's oh, this place is haunted.
No, and then that's when the demon yells, "Get out!"
Oh, yeah,
as we know. Apparently that happened in real life when he was blessing it, or when a medium was there, they heard the demon say, "Get out." I think it was the priest.
Yeah, the door creaks open, and it's "Get out!" Alright. So then he just runs out and leaves, the priest does.
And then it cuts to freaking Kathy later that night, and she calls the priest.
And George is go to bed to the kids.
No, the priest calls Kathy, and freaking
But then, but then she's like,
she starts hanging up on him.
Yeah.
She's already doing the 70s,
yeah,
like,
you know those people like who
the Myers
freaking,
fan would be like, is that
they
what
pick
we
up
do
the
in the
phone,
hood?
they pick
in
up
the
the
70s,
phone and
we
they
hang up on
freaking,
people?
they like push the button, which is the hang up button, like like expecting to like hear someone on the other end, even though they're hanging up on them. Like,
They double clutched it.
wow. They've accelerated the curing process.
And then it cuts to the next morning. And he's like, it's probably a collect call from Japan or something.
Wow.
And that's when he already starts feeling the spirits.
Alright,
Get on your notes and shut up.
So then freaking,
And that's when
so it cuts him off, yeah.
He's like, oh, it's cold. And he says that probably like 10 times throughout this whole movie.
And then freaking, it's like the prop blood all over his hands.
Already starting to be influenced by the demon that night.
No, the priest dropped his,
This is still the first night. Please drop what, idiot?
He's got the blood on his freaking hands when he was at the house.
Yeah, they show that he had a wound.
Alright, anyways. So then freaking
George tries to go down in the basement, and then one of his freaking stepkids that they treat as an extra was wearing like a Freddy Krueger sweater.
No, and this is the
and
first
he like
time.
falls down.
No, this is the first time they show that he's getting possessed because he's like talking to his wife, and he's like, it's cold. And he's just like, it's 72 degrees, but it feels like 32. No, I'm just saying it's
he reels off a bunch of those lines right there.
Yep, go on.
And then it's the kid one,
which is a lot of lines they use in the remake too.
And then it's still later that night, and they do like a 70s love scene.
Wow.
And it's like a typical one that goes on forever.
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes of them doing nothing. Except freaking spreading like germs in the mouth.
No, and then instead of like going farther, script convenience, like the kid breaks it up before it even gets hot and heavy.
The kid knocks on the door. No, he just busts in, and he's like, "Yeah."
It's the girl.
And he's like, "I'm gonna go home." And it's like father like daughter. They're wearing the same plaid shirt, night jeans.
He inherited this family. He was one happy dude.
Wow.
3:15 a.m. He wakes up.
Oh yeah, it shows the clock the first time 3:15. You know when the original killer and the murders that they showed at the beginning woke up at 3:15. All right, go.
That's the time George would. Apparently, the real George Lutz said that he had a dream. What happened is like he was like paralyzed but woke up from his dream. Because when you have a dream, you get paralyzed so that you don't act out your dream in real life, as they say.
That's not true.
So he felt like a demon was holding him down in real life. No, it's a temporary paralysis, you know what I'm saying?
No, it's false.
And then they see the chair rocking.
Oh yeah, they showed Joe.
They were like, that's an easy way to represent a ghost. They don't represent the ghost or the demon that well in this movie because it's the 70s.
And she puts her kid to sleep, and then she shuts the door, but it's like, you know, the camera shot from up top, you know, looking down of her bed, and then the chair, and the rocket chair starts going. It's a pretty good effect. Wow.
So then he wakes up, and and then George sees the chair rocking also. Wow. That's when he takes the dog out.
Play the soundtrack, you idiot.
Of course, you had the soundtrack like not going.
Yeah, what idiot. Alright, go. So then freaking
he sparks a cig at 3:30 a.m. in his freaking living room.
He's sparking a rollie.
It's
a rollie.
He's smoking Roxy's. That's what someone left a comment on one of our Halloween H2O reviews. He's like, you guys smoking Roxy? Like, what?
I was like, what?
That's when they do the cat jump scare, the black cat.
Yeah, he like gets started.
Always love the black cat in horror movies.
He takes a couple hits, puffs of the square, and then a cat's like meow, and he gets all spooked and drops it.
They say that happened in real life too. Is that the neighborhood cat would like climb the freaking windows and like show up at the windows, and look in and shit.
Scary
so then
stuff.
it cuts to the 4th day.
Oh yeah.
Alright, before we're gonna talk about this, I guess we're gonna go to freaking
part 2.
Amityville Horror, in-depth horror discussion, JBM and
Leave
L
off where we
made.
left off this scene.
Mr. Creepshow 09, leave a
Check
comment
it
of your
out.
thoughts. The Amityville Horror.